Hello and welcome back to my garage here in Car Mechanic Simulator 2018. I have not really a full house, but I have a bunch of vehicles in here to work on. I have been a bit obsessed with working on tanks lately, but I do recall I have a bunch of cars I need to get cleaned out. So this one is actually one that I picked up in the junkyard recently, the last time I was in CMS, and of course this is a Aston Martin DB5, which is probably one of my 3 favorite cars to work on that I currently have in the game. And since I have one in my collection, I can sell them now, and this one I think is about $1 million. And yeah, the factory color was this kind of a peach. It was not really even a peach, it was more like a kind of a passion fruit color, I guess. It wasn't very attractive. I was shooting for kind of a silver gray, and this is about as good as I could get. It still looks like primer gray, but if you take it outside, you can see the metallic. It looks better outside than it does inside, but that's true of most things. So this one is a little over $1 million. And I have some vehicles to work on here, but I want to go ahead and go to the junkyard anyway, just because I haven't been in a while. So let's do that. Okay, here we are. Let's it always seems like lately when I come to the junkyard there's nothing visible in the initial spaces, which always makes me nervous. It seems like lately it's taken 2 or 3 trips to find anything interesting. There's a whole lot of nothing in here now. I did remove a few more mods. I removed like 3 mods and added 2 to try to get some variety. I think this is a Salem Kirin. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. That's a vanilla game car. And this is also a vanilla car, I think. This is like the Mioveni Urs. I don't know what real-world analog this is supposed to be. And that looks like a Barracuda. That would be worth picking up. Yeah, Barracuda is always worth picking up. It's the only interesting car here. We'll go ahead and buy it. And looks like that's it. 3 cars. Only 3 cars in the whole junkyard. Boy, that's terrible. Alright, let's head back. Okay, so we'll leave the Barracuda here for now. And we're going to get to work on cleaning these up. I don't know which one I actually want to do. Well, that's not true. I'm gonna do the Porsche 911 here. I want to take a picture of my garage full of rust and tetanus. So we're gonna fully restore the 911 this time, but I want to get these other ones cleaned up so that they don't look quite so terrible in the background. And these are both Chevy Colorados, and they're slightly different. They're slightly different versions. One of them is a ZR2, I think, and the other one is like a ZR2 Road King. One of them actually has a V6 engine in it. The other one has a V8. This one is the ZR2, so the other one is the ZR2 Road King, and it has a V8 engine in it. I don't know what the body trim looks like. That one has like a headlight thing, not a headlight, a light bar. That's the word I want. They have different rims on them, I've noticed. That one is particularly ugly, though. That's interesting. Is that the body color? Oh no, there's no fender there. That's why it's doing that. Okay, something weird is happening with my controls. Ordinarily, I would right click on things to remove it, and it's not doing it. That's really strange. I'm going to pause this for a moment, and I'm going to get out to the menu and check the key bindings and see if something got changed inadvertently. That's really annoying. Left clicking on things works, but for some reason, can I right click? I can right click on this. Okay, let's pause and I'll come back in a moment. Okay, I'm back. I think I figured it out. It's my fault. I've spent so much time working on tanks lately that I was doing the command from Tank Mechanic Simulator to remove stuff as opposed to the command in Car Mechanic Simulator. And it was like, why in the world is the right-click menu picking up? Because this game doesn't use the right mouse button to remove parts. Oh, I already did that. Yeah, I replaced those parts already. Let's go ahead and rip off the rest of these things. I think I replaced all those seats and stuff already. In fact, I'm sure of it. Yeah, I did. I might even have done it on the. I might even have already done the interior cleaning. That's fine. That's what I get for being away from the game for a while. Forget what I did already. Yeah, I replaced the oil filter and the brake servo on this one already as well. So let's try repairing all the body parts we have. And there wasn't much that I took off of this. It was just like the fender and the trunk, I think. Yep. So I need to see what I actually have in my inventory. I don't usually like to do a lot of... I don't usually like to repair a lot of body parts, because then you kind of have to... It makes it difficult trying to figure out what you actually need to get. So I have both of the fenders on the left door. And I think I have the left mirror. Yeah. Okay, so all we need to do now is get the rest of... That's not it. Get the rest of the 911 body parts for the RS America. I did some reading on the Porsche 911s, because there's a whole bunch of different Porsche 911s, and I'm not super familiar with all of them. And it seems, if I remember correctly, that the RS model was built when they made the 911 Turbo. I just bought a trunk I don't need. But anyway, I want to say it was in I want to say it was in like the late 80s, like early 90s, 94 maybe. But they made the RS for a racing series that wasn't going to allow the turbo models, and they weren't going to sell them. And the racing series was actually supposed to take place in North America, and they weren't going to sell them. But people found out about the cars, and they wanted to buy them. So Porsche ended up adapting it to the North American market. And I'm probably not remembering this exactly correctly, because I just read the Wikipedia article on it once. But that seems like what I remember reading. I'll have to look at it again. I just thought it was a little bit interesting to know some of the history of the cars. Need license plates. Body condition, probably the front plate. Yeah, okay, so now we're ready. We'll go ahead and throw it to the paint shop and... Nope. We'll go ahead and throw it to the paint shop and paint it real quick. I rather like this blue that's on the trunk lid. It's kind of a... No. Ah, get out of there. It's kind of a really dark navy blue. That's the factory color. Yeah, I like that. Let's go with that. I think I can get the RS logo in white. Yes. Okay, yeah, that looks very nice. Okay, we'll come back to that car momentarily. I want to look at this one now and see what body parts... Make sure there's not any oddball body parts for this thing. Looks like all the generic ones. And of course, I'm not actually sure. I don't think it had a front bumper, and I don't think it had a front end. Didn't have any doors or windows. Fenders. This ZR2 is probably just the base model, so there won't be any oddball trim, I don't think. Should look at that, see what that is. Rear bumper, rear clamshell, door, window. That should be pretty close. I don't know if this thing even has the... I don't know if this... Yeah, I don't think it even has that thing back there. Well, I guess I didn't buy a rear window. Oh, it looks like I repaired the front fender for this because it's that blue color. And the headlight. So I've spent, let's see, this is the one I just bought, and this is the one that came off the other car, so it was the same bumper. And then the front end, the other car had the C bumper. I'm giving this one the generic one. And I bought a hood I don't need, but that's fine. I think I got pretty much the right stuff here. Got some extras, but that's alright. I've got to see what fender that is. Rear left fender, so that's like just the running board that's like a pipe, I guess is the word for it. I know I saw this thing up there, so I need to get that. That's left. Where's the right one? Right there in front of me, naturally. What about the rear window? I thought I got one of those. There we go. Trying to build a tank again. Alright, so that one is all fixed up. Whoops. I tell you what, you play a different game for a while where the controls are slightly different, and then you try to go back to another one, and it's like, oh my god, what am I even doing now? And that's actually a very nice color. I like that blue. So this is the base model of this. I think this is the third variant of this truck that I've worked on. Of course, the first one I ever found was in the auction house, so it was practically, I mean, it was, rebuilding it was like mostly just repairing stuff and replacing things that you had to replace, like that needs to come off. Anyway, like replacing all the glass, for instance. So this one has different trim piece levels. And let's see if all the doors are, the doors are all the same. And I have a rear door. So let's go ahead and get the doors and the door glass and the rear glass. And that'll fill out a bunch of stuff right away. Okay, now we have to start being a little bit more, pay a little bit more attention. Rear clamshell C, front bumper C. Well, this one has a front license plate and the other one didn't. Front end C I have. Headlights and taillights are all standard trim. Hood. Do I have a hood? I have two hoods. And a left headlight. So let's get a right headlight, right tail light, left tail light. Got a hood, got the front end. That might be everything I need to do to put on these. Got to try to repair some of this stuff. I think I took off that light bar thing without thinking. I should have gone to repair it as well. It's got a different engine cover because it's got a V8 engine in it. So we're keeping everything the correct trim level. That's important to me anyway. Left rear fender, right rear fender. I've got the tail. It keeps dropping out of assembly mode so easily. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Down to the last few bits. Front left, right left, front fender, right fender C. Oh, I had one of those. Oh well. What about the door? What about the mirrors? The mirrors I think are generic. I don't think it has any separate trim levels for the mirrors. Nope. And the trunk. It's gonna need that trunk window. Left trunk taillight C, right trunk taillight E. Right trunk taillight E is the light bar, it looks like. And then the left trunk will be that framework that's over the bed behind the rear window. Where are you? There it is. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. Come off there. You know, one thing you can do in Tank Mechanic Simulator is you can jump up on the vehicle that you're working on. It would be really nice if I could do that here. There. I think that should be 100%. Boy, that was a pain in the butt. So we ended up with a few extra parts, but that's alright. This one is already worth $81,000. And this one is worth $66,000. So this one here looks a bit more, I mean, this is like the base model. This is like the base model that you would get, the cheapest one that you would get, and this one is the next level up. And there was another variant that I did that's slightly different than this. I think you can get the V6 engine with the additional trim options. I can't remember which one I worked on before, but let's get this thing going. It's taken me a second to get back into the swing of things here. I've gotten so used to I have been absolutely consumed by working on tanks the last few days since Tank Mechanic Simulator came out, and I have been just so into it that I keep doing things with, I keep doing controls that I expect to work. Because it's not made by the same company. It's not made by the same developer as made this game. They're both distributed by Playway, but it's a different developer. And the controls are very similar, but not exactly the same. And it's enough to, since I've been so consumed with working on tanks lately, that my muscle memory has like completely flipped over to the control scheme for that game. And I keep having to, I do something and then it's like, wait, that's not working. Even though I have put in a lot more hours over a longer period of time fixing cars than I have fixing tanks. I'll tell you what though, the tanks are a lot of fun. They're really satisfying to work on. Why did that not come out? There it was. You can, and that's something that if the Car Mechanic Simulator devs could take one huge suggestion from me, it would be to let you jump up on the, let you jump. You can't jump at all in this, and there are times, and it would be really handy to be able to like jump into the bed of a pickup truck, for instance, or climb up on top of a car when you're still in the process of assembling it, to give you a better angle on something. I mean, you would, as a real mechanic, you would be climbing all over this. You'd be climbing all over these things as you worked on them. I would kind of like to see. I was watching a video on YouTube, actually. Some dude who found a Porsche 911 Targa in a junkyard somewhere in the southeast. I want to say it was, I don't remember exactly where it was, and I don't want to just pull things out of thin air. But I've been watching them work on the car since they got it, and I mean, it was in a junkyard. It was it's full of rust. The floorboards are pretty much rusted out. The engine is there, but I mean, there was some of the engine there, but it was clearly going to need a lot of work to make it, a running car again. But I've watched them put the thing on they've stripped out what they can out of the body of the car so that it's just an empty frame, and they've got the frame on a jig, and they're turning it around so that they can weld it and grind it and do everything that you need to do to clean it up. And it's fascinating, and I would love to be able to do that here. Since the bodywork, the bodywork aspect in here is very simplified. There we go. Let's, of course, now that we've stripped everything out, we need to process what we've got. Looks like 20 rubber bushings. And we'll go ahead and flush the brakes because we're going to need a full set of disc brakes for this. Oh, hell. Oh, that's alright. I need to get these two. Because it has double wishbone front and back. I need to get those springs anyway. I didn't just buy those, did I? If I just bought 40 bushings, I'm going to be annoyed. I'll go ahead and get the tie rods and the steering rack, and I know it's sway bar B, but I can't. Once again, I wasn't paying attention, so I don't know if it was for just the generic front sway bar or if it was sway bar sway bar B or front sway bar, just the generic front sway bar. Front sway bar. Okay. Okay, let's get our clutch, because we're going to need to buy that from the performance store. I should have been assembling these. And what else do I want to do? I want to try. Let's get the hubs while I'm thinking about it. Rear wheel hub B, and front wheel hub. So 2 front, 2 rear wheel hub Bs, 4 bearings, and 2 hubcaps, because it's a rear wheel drive car. And that should get us down to the suspension arms and the knuckles. 5%, 6%, 6%. We're probably going to be able, we'll be able to repair some of this, but not all of it. And I definitely want to get different wheels. I've been experimenting with getting different wheels instead of the standard stock Porsche wheels. We'll get tires that are the same size, but I'm gonna get. I want to put different rims on it just because I like the. I want to try some different looks. I saw a couple of things that have been failed to repair. I didn't catch what they were. So we didn't repair the gearbox, bummer. I only get 80 bucks for the scrap value. I always prefer to try to repair. I always prefer to sell, repair old gearboxes. I mean, because it's $3,000 for that one. I wonder how much it is for the B6C gearbox. $1,500. So it would probably sell for at least $750 if you repair the used one. Boy, we didn't get a lot of stuff. Okay. So that was one front and one rear. And let's see, 2 bottom Bs, 1 bottom. One upper. Front steering knuckle B, both front steering knuckles. Okay, rear drive axle B and front crossmember B. All right, so we have all of our running gears now. So let's see. These are all 18-inch wheels. So we need to buy 4 18-inch rims. And I want to pick something that I haven't used before that I think will look good on this Porsche. That is really ugly. I don't like that at all. I don't like that at all. Or that. Kind of like this. I may have used that before, but I like it. Let's see, I may come back to that one. This is kind of cool. I want to paint these though. What is rim 4? Rim 4 looks like a thicker version of that. It's got 5 spokes instead of 6. No. That's not bad. This one I like. That's a good rim. Into the game rims. Well, they're all vanilla rims, I guess. Even the Rims DLC stuff. I do like some of the classic ones. Like I like what is it? I like this Classic 9, and I like Classic 2. I think. What's Classic 1? No. Let's keep looking. Look at the moderns. Even the retros could look. Could try the spoke wheels, like what I had on the DB5. I think I'm gonna do. I think I'm gonna go ahead and go with rim 3 back here. Where were you? It would be nice if this thing would sort appropriately. You know, it's there. Yeah, I think I'll do that. And we're going to chrome those rims out. Now, I am kind of 2 minds on this, especially when it comes to a classic Porsche like this. I rather suspect that the kind of people who would be buying this car would be interested in particular in having it in kind of a stock configuration, something authentic to the Porsche itself. But since I don't know, maybe we're trying to sell it to somebody who wants something a little bit more flashy. And I think the chrome looks pretty good for the most part anyway. So what we need now, 265, 35, 18. And since it's going to be upgraded, we're going to get better tires for it. And the rear, no, that's the rear. The front, 235 40 18. Spent about $4,000 on tires there. I would also like to have a garage expansion DLC where I could have at least another set of these machines. This is a real bottleneck where you're ready to go and you have to go through balancing. Mounting is pretty quick, but balancing is slow. And especially if you work on multiple cars, a lot of times I like to work on more than one car. And you got to mount and balance 8 sets of tires, 8. I was trying to say 8, 3. I can't even get the words out now. I was thinking of doing 3 cars is 3 full sets of 12 tires. And that takes a long time to mount and balance. And with the amount of money that I have, I should be able to buy the neighborhood block that I live on, knock down the neighboring building, and expand my garage. Something to hope for, I guess, in the next version of the game. If they do put out another one, I guess it's been a while. There was a... no? There was a... I didn't start playing until... I didn't start playing until this version, CMS 2018. I know that there's a 2015, and I never played the 2015 version. I got into 2018, and I got all the DLCs because I was enjoying it so much. And I guess there's no indication from the developers of coming out with another version of the game. Of course, if they keep putting out DLCs, that'd be great. Something else after the Mercedes DLC would be cool. I can think of... I would really love to have like a legit Lamborghini DLC and a legit Ferrari DLC. That would be really great. That would be really great. And the mods that are out there, there's some really good Ferrari and Lamborghini mods out there, don't get me wrong. But some of them are also, they don't fit together very well underneath, or they're really kind of bare bones under the car. They don't have exhaust. Don't have. Some of them aren't even connected as far as the transmission and drive shaft and the drivetrains aren't fully connected. So sometimes you put those together and you think, how is this car supposed to go anywhere? And if they had a legit official DLC, that wouldn't happen. Don't get me wrong. I have some of those modded cars in my personal collection because I really like them. But it would be cool to see it done, full all up. I gotta get rid of those old ones. So it's the 235s to go on the front. It looks a little gaudy. I think the problem with this rim, and I realized that when I was picking it, is that you can see too much through it. And it would be worse if it was a car with a disc brake system instead of a drum. Not a disc. It'd be worse if it was a car with a drum brake. Yeah, that doesn't look too bad. It sets off the blue nicely. Of course, now we have to build the engine. And it just occurred to me that I need a starter. I always need a starter. And this car uses the standard, doesn't use the V8 starter. So now we can go get to work, and this is like, we're going to be doing a lot on this one. It's literally, the Porsche engines have an engine block that's in two halves, obviously. And all we have here are the pistons, the crankshaft, the two halves of the block. And there's a secondary shaft, which I already took out. You may have noticed that. I did it kind of quickly. And all these pistons and rings, of course, we're going to throw away, because we're going to replace. The rings are not repairable, obviously. And the pistons we're going to replace. So if we're lucky, we'll be able to repair the crankshaft and the two halves of the block and the shaft. So for this we will need 2 camshafts, 6 of these cylinders and 6 of these heads, 2 of these manifolds, 2 fuel rails, ignition wire, both of these manifolds, and the throttle. We won't need that or that. We're going to need spark plugs, and we need 12 of them because there are 2 per cylinder. And then we need to buy, I know that the normally aspirated engine uses the blower rather than the turbo. I'm going to need 2 of these, 2 of these, the B6B, is it the B, no it's not the B6B cover, is it? It's the other one, the engine block cover, because that's the one with the blower. We will need 2 of those, 2 of those, 1 of these, 1 of these, 2 of these. We also need 4 clips, remember that. 4 pipes, radiator fan. We need all of these B6C belts. We need the timing chains, 2 timing shoes, cover A, cover B, 2 cover C's. We're going to need a power steering pump, and a fuel filter. And it actually uses the V8 power steering pump. And I'm going to need a crank pulley, V8 crank pulley. I'm sure I am missing something. I'm sure I'm forgetting something, but we'll come back to that. Looks like we repaired both of the halves of the block. Well, that was excellent. We only lost one of each cap, a crankshaft cap and a rod cap. And I never can remember which one of these air filters it is. I think it's this one. Yeah, because this one, the B6B air filter, is for the turbo. The B6 air filter is for the non-turbo. So we should be able to go quite a long way here. I don't think I have everything. I have the distinct... No, yep, right there. I was just about to say I have the distinct feeling I'm missing something. Sure enough. Okay, now. I do quite enjoy assembling these engines. The Porsche B6 engine is really, I mean, engineering-wise, it's just a marvel, and it's really satisfying to put together. Unlike, well, even the V8 engines, the overhead valve V8 engines, with 16 camshaft or rocker arms to put in. It gets exhausting, but it's still satisfying to do, because once you've got it all together and it works, then it's like, wow, look at what I did. This one just comes together and it looks space-aged, even though this probably dates back to the 90s, early 90s. I'd have to look up that article again. I want to say like 94 was when they made the RS America model, somewhere in that neighborhood. And I noticed too one day, I was doing this, and get up here, and you look down at it from above, and you can see that those things aren't directly in line with each other. They're slightly offset on this side from each other. I thought that was kind of interesting. It makes perfect sense that they're offset. I mean, they couldn't be directly in line with each other, or they would foul each other every time they moved. But I thought that was kind of neat, because I didn't notice it. It was a while before I noticed that it was done. This thing, you can't get, they don't have a performance version of the distributor for this car, which I think is unfortunate. I'd like to have nice red parts here, nice shiny distributor, and it takes 4 clips, which is all kinds of fun. Now each one of these has 4 bolts. Well, basically the bolts are sticking out of the cylinder head. The bolts are sticking out of the cylinder. You stick the head on top of it and then put nuts down onto those studs, and each one of these things takes 2 spark plugs. And I like to put the spark plugs in first before I put anything else, because if you seat that camshaft now, then it'll put the image of the camshaft bearing on top of it, and once you put the camshaft bearing in, it becomes a little bit more difficult to thread your way in there to get the spark plugs in. So I'd like to get those in first. I always like to assemble these so that I do it in a relatively balanced sort of way. which clearly I am not doing this time. I like to get, but change it up every now and then, I guess. Not intentionally. Sometimes I just start working on one side of the engine and I get sucked in and I keep going. Of course, with this one, once you get to the point of putting on you put on the head covers and you're basically done with that side of the engine. Whoops, look at that. I just did what I told you I don't like to do. I put the camshaft in, and now the bearing is there, and I don't have these spark plugs in. Get in there. There we go. And once these are all on, we'll button up the front, and then we'll move to the top side of the engine, get the cover and everything, and the filter. I wanted to say carburetor, but it doesn't have a carburetor. And this is a case where it's a good idea to line up the bolts. And this is something you can't do with the Tank Mechanic Simulator either. There's some vehicles that have a lot of bolts like this, and you can't line them up and just hold the mouse button down and get them all to go at once. You have to do each one individually, which is a little bit tedious. But there aren't a lot of the vehicles in the game that make you do that, fortunately. I'm going to need clips for this thing too. I think can't remember if it's clip A. No, it's clip B. This is like one of the only air filters that uses clip B instead of clip A. Usually you can go clip A, A for air, but there's a couple of them that use clip B instead, and this is one of them. But this should finish this engine. Nope, I was going to say this should finish it, but I can see right now it's not, because I haven't put in the alternator and the fan and the belts and the wires. But this will do this will do it. All right, look at that. Beautiful. It's really a good-looking engine. And this is one where we have to go up and down, because the starter is mounted up there on top of the transmission, and you can't access it from in here, from down here like this. So we have to mount the transmission and the drive shafts and the wheels, and then bring it down, put the starter in, put oil in it, and then we're good to go. We'll dyno the thing and see what we've got. It's not turbocharged, but it's still, I mean, it's a V6. It's still a pretty powerful V6 engine. And of course, the oil fill cap is over here. And I think you would actually access that from the, well, maybe not. And on the 959, you would access the oil fill cap from the outside. So we are now 100% across the board, so the car is now perfect. That's what we live for. Nice, pristine, beautiful cars. And so now we can test it. See what kind of horsepower it develops now. I really like that blue. That's a really nice color. So we've got 262. We should get, I would say we should get let's say 450. $479. Yep, not too bad. Pretty close. Now, one thing I am curious about, since I didn't put the stock Porsche wheels on it, and the value I think was about 180. What is it? $224,000, and it doesn't have the stock wheels. And it makes me wonder if putting non-standard wheels on the car affects the value. I don't know. I'm gonna have to try it one day. I think I may have another one of these in my parking storage that's still waiting to be repaired. I may do that one with make two sets of wheels for it, stock and aftermarket like this, just to check and see what kind of effect it has, if any, on the value of the car. But this one's ready to go, so I have rebuilt and driven several of these, so I think I'm just going to go ahead and sell this one. Yep, there she goes. $224,000. That's exactly the kind of paycheck that I like to see. Okay, cool. I'm going to move this up here so I can get it done. Get this out the door. And I'll do that the next time. Well, next time I really want to get at least that V8 Colorado done. So, and then and I have some more Porsches to work on, so I can pull them out. But for that, we'll do that another time. So, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. If you made it this far, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed the video. And I hope to see you again here for our next Junkyard adventure in our ongoing, never-ending series on rebuilding and selling cars. So, on that note, bye for now.